Welcome to Einstein's Disease. Through real-world insights and powerful conversations with industry leaders, we help you break past limitations and rethink success. Are you ready to push the boundaries of what's possible?
Hi, it's Greg Ellers from Einstein's Disease. We're back with Brian. Brian, it's great to have you here today. So let's kind of jump right into I'm starting a new business. We've talked about the problem. We've given a solution. Let's kind of think about what do you do to help new clients that are starting a business? They've got a great idea. They're coming at you with a new product that they think is going to save the world. And they want you to manage their digital advertising. Let's talk about what that actually looks like, because this is where you and I know this is where we waste a lot of money. We waste it because we don't know what we're looking for, as we talked about. But most importantly, they're potential clients of yours, or they are clients of yours. Talk to us about starting a new business and how they should look at advertising, because it's their biggest sunk cost that they aren't going to get back, right? It's not, there's nothing there. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, that's right. And you were asking me too about like the elements that are required. What do I really need to have in place before I start spending money and putting it into that black hole of advertising and not really being able to extract any value out of it and feeling like I'm just throwing good money after bad. And what you really need in advance of all these things, it's like all of the different elements of your business and how you present online. And when people are going to Google search you, they're going to look up reviews, they're going to check out your website, they're going to do all of these things. And one of the biggest problems before I settled into the systems that I currently have was always having disparate systems. I'd have a website over here and I'd have a landing page over there. I'd have my email, not connected in any way, forms not connected. I had no systematic way to follow up or aggregate all of these clients that are reaching out and then maintaining contact with them. I had none of those things. And I shouldn't say I had none of those things. I just didn't have them integrated. And because they weren't integrated, it became too much of a lift for me to try to figure out how to throw duct tape on it. And so it's really, in order to get a business up and running right out of the gate, you really want to not spend your time reinventing the wheel, because you really have to focus in on whatever good or service you're providing. I mean, that's the real thing, right? But what elements do I need in place before I go out there and start spending on marketing dollars? And it's basics. It's website, landing pages. It's getting your email system set up, integrated. It's having phone numbers that allow you to track the numbers that are being called in from Google, for example. So if you want to track the source, you how do you do all these things? And then how do you set up the automations to extract the maximum value from the leads that you've already purchased? And so,
right. So what I'm saying, to interrupt you there for a second, because I think our viewers need to understand this. You're really saying it's more important to get the infrastructure established and having everything in a working order, really, to test it before you even start to advertise. And if I'm hearing you correctly, and in previous conversations, with technology today, it's not difficult to do, number one, Brian, but most importantly, it's not a material cost like it was 10 or 15 years ago. There's ways to do this that aren't expensive, that are going to, as I let you finish, talk about really effectively spending money better on advertising. Is that really what you're saying, isn't it?
It is.
And that infrastructure, if you can just spend a little bit of time, so our viewers understand this, because I starting a few businesses myself, it doesn't take as long, does it, as people might perceive it to take. And in essence, you need to look at it from how much you're spending per hour, because once you start spending ad dollars, if you're not effectively set up with infrastructure, in many cases, as we talked about in the first two blocks, it can be very ineffective. So that infrastructure element's the most important. So maybe if you can spend a little bit more time on that element of it, and then kind of keep moving where you were.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of infrastructure, going back to how it started and how it's going, there's a really good picture of that Raptor engine from Elon Musk that shows like this like ridiculous engine with pipes flowing all over, and then afterwards it's really streamlined. And that's kind of what it's like in the space of software and all these various solutions that we were talking about, whether that's your website or your email or what have you. And so we've settled into a system, and a lot of your audience may have already heard of it. It's called Go High Level. And that's after a long line of other software programs and connecting various systems together. And ultimately, I won't go through and list all of the various systems that I've used, but this particular system is more of an ecosystem that has all of the various elements that you need in one platform already integrated. And so what you're really doing is you're building on a solid foundation that doesn't require like a high level of technical knowledge necessarily to make the minor adjustments. You do need somebody, like our company, to come in and really customize it to your specific needs and your messaging, but it's approachable, even for the not so technically literate. And that's what made it, like we don't all want to spend our life figuring out the next software program. We just want to do the work that is the main thing. So if you want to keep the main thing, you don't reinvent the wheel. You find the solutions that are already integrating all the elements that you need to successfully, operate a business and do it in a very cost-effective manner. And so if I was to give you an example with this particular platform, if you look at the amount of software that would be required to recreate this, not to mention the integrations, it's well over $1,000 a month. It's well over. And so it's like, for me personally, I'm not out there using outside calendaring services. I'm not using DocuSign anymore. I use that internally. I'm not using, like I said, the calendar, so it's Calendly. I'm not paying for that anymore. I'm not paying for a lot of different things because now it's all housed in one place. And then beyond not paying the money for all this excessive software, the integration makes me much more able to maximize the output from the data that's going through it.
So spend some time right there. That's fantastic, because what our viewers should be hearing is there are solutions that, whether it's the one that you mentioned, Go High Level, or maybe something that might be one of their competitors, these are infrastructures that are already built, that don't require a PhD or a degree in computer engineering to be able to put your business into. And
Yep.
in creating and putting that infrastructure in place, you're putting yourself in a position to succeed better at your advertising, your digital marketing, which is where we want everybody to understand. That is the black hole where you are not understanding if you're actually throwing the right lure in the water to catch the fish that your product is actually able to solve for, whatever that might be. So you've defined the infrastructure. Now let's in the last few minutes here, let's talk about that next element, because you've got the infrastructure in place and I'm starting a business. I need to go spend some money. How do I do it?
Well, you need to spend some money, Greg. So, with our system, it's a very low monthly subscription to get started, and within that, you can have all of the elements that you need to successfully manage your online presence and interact with your customers, both new ones that you're generating from cold leads to your existing client base. You may be starting a business, but you may have folks that you worked with in a previous business that you can market to and educate about the business that you're entering into. There's a lot of different things you can do there. But I would say that it's when you get started with our system, and I've done this numerous times now, and people are amazed at how quickly they can, and we're talking a day. You can have all of those things that you look at and you're like, oh, that seems like a big hurdle. Building the website, hurdle. Setting up the funnel or the landing page, hurdle. Setting up outreach emails and text messages and all that, hurdle, hurdle, hurdle. I mean, ultimately, we sit here and we get very kind of bogged down and overwhelmed with all the things that are required. But I can tell you, after so many times of doing this, that people are amazed at how quickly you can stand up a business that was nothing the day before, and within a couple of days, you've got all of the elements of a lot of the small businesses, if not exceeding what they're offering, and how they're operating.
And you're doing that with better metrics, aren't you? Which is what we've been talking about from a solution standpoint. Being able to make sure that you're actually targeting the people, and when you target them, they're engaging you because they're interested in what you have to offer.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you're not measuring the results, I mean, in the digital marketing space, they call it ROAS, or return on ad spend. And if you're not getting a multiple from your return on ad spend, then you're kind of burning your money.
Sure you are.
And you need to rethink your strategy. But how do you even know if what it is? It's actually fairly complicated to sit there and connect the advertising dollars that you've spent all the way through. But within our system, we are tracking the source of those leads, whether they're inbound phone calls. Maybe you got a phone call off of Google. Maybe it was a Facebook ad. Maybe it was a YouTube ad. We're tracking those. And so within that platform, you can actually measure the effectiveness of a particular ad platform or channel and what it's converting at. And then you can make a decision about ad spend and budget dollars. So it's like, well, maybe for my particular offering, I'm better served by, focusing in on Google, right? No. Because it's higher converting and it has a higher return on ad spend.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. We're gonna cut away and we'll come back for the last block, Brian. Really appreciate you being on Einstein's Disease today and giving our viewers a really in-depth glimpse into digital marketing. And with that, we'll be back shortly. Thank you.